Hey everyone, Moshe the Electric Israeli here, coming to you from South Florida. My wife and I have just completed 1,299 miles trip from northern New Jersey. It's about a little over 2,000 kilometers. We consumed 350 kilowatt hour of battery, and our average watt hour per mile was 270 watt hour per mile. I'm going to explain to you later on. Well, the purpose of this trip, and I'm going to show you the clips from all throughout the trip. The purpose of the trip is not the final number that I just gave you. The final number is interesting, but every trip, every leg of this trip, and I'm going to explain to you how many stops we had a different character. So we started the trip in northern New Jersey, snow, minus 5 degrees Celsius, about 13 or 15 degrees. It was bitter cold, it was snow. And so every leg of the trip had a different character. And what I'm going to try to do in this video is not to show you how many miles in the real world can Tesla Model 3, the one that I drove is the Model 3 2021 dual motor. It's not what can you get out of it. It's really is what is the characteristic of a real range world in an electric car. And this is just my example, but you can extrapolate this to any electric car that you may own. And we're going to talk about also charging speeds and all that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a menu below with chapters so you can skip around. I highly recommend that you watch the last one where I put all the numbers together, and I'm going to tell you about charging experience and all those things that are very important. So some of the videos are done in the dark, superchargers, but they're very interesting. So I highly recommend that you do. So we left northern New Jersey at 7 a.m. in the morning the other day, and we had all two days, one night. We slept in North Carolina, in Lumberton, and then it was 7 supercharging stops. The last one was at the place where we are, the Airbnb where we are. It's an annual visit to Florida during Christmas time. It's awesome. So I highly recommend you watch all the clips, but if you don't, just go to the end, because the end, it's very important. So here it is. Before we continue with this video, I'd like to give a shout out to today's sponsor of my videos. It is EV-Base. EV-Base is an awesome accessories for both interior and exterior of Tesla, Rivian, and many other EVs. I received the EV-Base Model 3 18-inch urban turbine wheel cover. It is awesome. It came with this amazing box, all individually wrapped with this great bubble wrap. I opened it. It came by default with this cap, but I ordered specially the Tesla logo cap, and also the rim cover came along with it. It's an awesome company. I really love them. If you mention my name, TEI, the Electric Israeli, in your coupon section, you can get 20% off your purchase of anything from their website. They're awesome. I will include the link below and embedded inside this video. What a great way to start our annual trip to Florida. Our Christmas trip to Florida. Here's my Model 3 2021. Here's my Model 3 2023. They both look white. This one is actually white. This one is black. So we're going to take the 2021 dual motor that has this amazing urban tires that I got from EV-Base, and it's a 1,200 miles trip, and we are going to put them on for halfway, see the efficiency, and then I take them off somewhere in North Carolina, and then we will see what's the efficiency the rest of the way without them, the urban turbine tires. So the two cars are now defrosting. I'm going to clean them up, and then we're going to start our trip. Hey everyone, Moshe the Electric Israeli. I'm here with my wife on our annual trip to Florida. 1,200 miles or so. So when I'm gonna do this trip, I'm gonna focus on efficiency. I'm gonna I'm gonna show you the numbers for every stop. As you can see in the video I'm showing you, we left New Jersey this morning, 25 degrees, snowstorm. Thank God for Tesla defrosting system. It was great, easy to clean. So we are at our first stop in Delaware House. We drove 140 miles, which is 226 kilometers. Our efficiency is bad, 315 watt-hour per mile. We are in our Tesla Model 3 2021 long range, which is 195 watt-hour per kilometer, if you like that. 250 miles. We started the trip from the house, 250 miles, which is about 400 kilometers, a little bit more 400 kilometers. Our average speed was 70 miles per hour, which is my favorite speed, 112 kilometers per hour. Like I said, we started at 25 degrees, and now in Delaware it's about 32. So -4 Celsius to 0. So we started with 250 miles from home, and then we drove 140 miles, right? And then we got around 32. So you deduct the 32 from the 250, and then you divide 140 for the remainder. So basically our efficiency was 64%. Okay, that's not good, but consider the really cold weather, it is not bad at all. So that's the first leg. Now the second leg is going to be in Fredericksburg, and once we get there I will give you the stats. Okay everybody, we got to Fredericksburg. That was a long ride, not necessarily because of miles. We drove 164 miles, okay, but we did it more than 3 hours. There was so much traffic. Washington DC sucks, but there was a lot of traffic and around Virginia and all that. But we got to Fredericksburg, Virginia. So we started with 296 miles. We drove 164.5 miles. We consumed 261 watt-hour per mile. So that's a much improved from the 315. Well, the weather is everything. The temperature was high, between 35-ish to 40 degrees. So our miles per kilowatt, a watt-hour per mile was 3.83. Okay, not great, but the efficiency was 77%. Okay, so 296 with the miles we drove. Deduct the miles we drove, about 87 miles left in the battery. So that's how we do the calculation, what's left in the battery minus where we started. So now we got from 64% efficiency to 77% efficiency. So just shows you how much weather effect. It is the number one culprit of range, the number one. Our next stop is going to be a very awesome one. I won't tell you what that is because it's awesome. But as you can see, we got to this supercharger, and there was a Volvo charging in the supercharger. Then a Mustang Mach-E came, and it couldn't charge because the port is on the wrong side, and there was only one charger left, so he couldn't do it. So I don't know where he went. There's a charger not too far from him. But this does not make Tesla driver very happy when you see a car charging on 2 spots. We don't like that. Anyway, next stop is going to be interesting. Just wait. We are now in the supercharger in Halifax, North Carolina. V4. I've never been here before. These are 60 stalls. 60 stalls. Some of them head first, some of them you have to back up. This is huge. There's a Dunkin' Donuts and Oasis and a gas station. I see over there this is what it used to be. I never stopped here, but I've seen it, I've passed by it. You have the traditional superchargers right there. And here you have the V4s. These are amazing. They have a much longer cable. Here's my car right here. They have much longer cable, which means, let me show you, which means if a non-Tesla car comes in here and they have the cable in the wrong side, the charge port in the wrong side, they can actually charge. This is incredible. This is the way it should be, and it has solar panels. It has a solar panel covered of the supercharger. That's amazing. I've never seen this before. Okay, guys, as you just saw, I'm here in Halifax, North Carolina, in one of the biggest, definitely the biggest supercharger I've ever seen. 60 stalls. This is V4 and V3 combination. It's really incredible. I love the long cable. That's the way it's supposed to be. Anyway, Tesla is freaking awesome. Anyway, okay, here are the numbers. This is our third stop. It's already 6:30 in the evening. We started at 7 a.m. So we drove 240 miles. I'm sorry, we started 240 miles. We charged in where were we, baby, before?
Just before here?
Yeah. Fredericksburg?
Yeah.
Fredericksburg, Virginia. We drove 140 miles. So we had like 57 miles left on the trip, on the battery, meaning we did 76%. So we more or less what we were before. The temperature was the same, 40 degrees. Okay, so, and the watt hour per mile was 270, again, similar to what it is. So basically, obviously you see the weather is the culprit, the biggest culprit. Now, my wife drove, and she drives faster, she usually drives faster than me. So, whatever, she drove, there was traffic, traffic is also important, but when there wasn't traffic, she usually drives 80 miles, I drive about around 70, 75. Anyway, and every mile counts. So we're gonna have one more stop, I don't know where, and we call it a night, and then we'll continue to South Florida tomorrow morning. Okay guys, we are at our final destination of day one of our long trip to Florida. Here's the last numbers, and then we'll do a little quick review. Fourth stop for tonight. We started at 7 a.m. It's now 9 p.m. 4 stops. This one, 264 mile we charged in Halifax, 422 kilometers. We drove 150 miles, which is 240 kilometers. Efficiency this time is 70%. So we had between 66 in the very cold to 77, now 17. I'm going to tell you in a minute. 1 hour per mile, 291, a little high. 180 watt hour per kilometer. And the miles per kilowatt, 3.43 miles per kilowatt low. In kilometers is 5.55. So the reason is there was no traffic. 150 miles, no traffic. So 75, 80 miles an hour. My wife drives like that, and that's how we get. So there's so much discussion about range. It has so many variables. So tomorrow we're going to continue from here. We are in Lumberton, North Carolina. We're going to continue until Lauderdale in Florida. And I assume another 4 stops. I assume. We'll see. So the range, again, the real range all depends on so many variables. We'll talk about it at the end of the trip. So we'll get back to you tomorrow morning. Good morning, everyone. Moshe here again. Day 2 of our range test trip. Yesterday we did 4 stops. I think we're going to have 4 stops again. We are now in Lumberton, North Carolina. Our next destination is 188 miles from here. The car says we're gonna get there with 9%. Sounds good to me. So that's like 300 kilometers, okay? It doesn't look like we're gonna have any traffic. We'll see. We're starting at 29 degrees. It's 7:24 in the morning. And as you can see, the whole point of this, not only I'm testing the car with the Urban Turbine wheel covers, I will take them off on the trip back, and then we'll see the difference. You see how different real world range looks like. It all depends on all the variables we talked about. We will do what do you call it? We will do a summary at the end, and then we'll see the effect. So far, from the beginning of the trip, we drove 598 miles. Call it 600 miles. We consumed 168 kilowatt hour, and our average 1 hour per mile is 281. So we'll go. It's about the car says 2 hours and 38 minutes. We'll see what happens, and we'll see how the range is affected as we go south and the weather warms up. Okay, so I'm hoping for 3 stops before the final destination in South Florida. Okay, hope you're enjoying this video. See you in a minute. Okay guys, here's your update. 10:12 a.m. we drove, let me give you the numbers in miles and kilometers. So we drove from Lumberton to Yosemite. That's where we are, Yosemite. We are day 2. So we started with 308 miles, like I said at the beginning, which is 492 kilometers to Yosemite. We drove 192 miles, okay, which is about 68% efficiency. We got here with about 50 kilometers or so, a little bit around that. So, 28 miles, which is 42 kilometers, okay? So, our efficiency was 293 watt hour per mile. Not great. That's why the 68% efficiency. In kilometers, we drove 310 kilometers, which is 183 watt hour per kilometers. So the temperature was between 28 degrees. We started 28 degrees, and now it's like 42. Okay, so and in Celsius -2 to about 5 degrees right now. So it was 3.4 miles per kilowatt, which is 5.5 kilometers per kilowatt. So what happened? So obviously we drove, it was like a 2.5 hour drive, and we gobbled 192 miles, 310 kilometers. So that was a nice stretch. There was no traffic. We drove 75-ish, sometime 80 miles per hour. Great ride, cool weather, great ride. A lot of, smooth cruising. At one point, you see, it's very sunny now. I'm wearing sunglasses. So at some point, we just turned off the heat, not because it's warm out, it's very cold, but because it's the sun is really warming up the car. So that's that. Our next stop will be somewhere in Florida. We're charging the car now. And it started with about 200 and something kilowatt down to 166. I will mention all the supercharging experiences that we had at the end of this video, which can give you a sense of what is it like driving long distance in Tesla cars. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay guys, we are finally in Jacksonville, Florida, hence the short sleeves. What a 24-hour, 36 hours do, living in the snow, freezing. I heard now from my sons, it's 15 degrees in New Jersey, and we substituted for about 58 degrees now. We left South Carolina with 5 degrees Celsius, and now with 14 degrees. So we left 40, and now we are 58 or so. And it shows. So here are the numbers for now. So we charged the car to 300 miles, 480 kilometers. That's the range when we start. We drove 183 miles, 294 kilometers. We have arrived with 70 miles, which is 112 kilometers. And so we did the calculation. You deduct the starting number by the range that you got. So this way it will be 300 minus 70. So, and then you divide the small number by the big number. So 183 divided by 230. So that gives us 79%. You see what weather does, and we drove 125 kilometers per hour, 75 miles per hour. Most of the time, there were very little traffic here and there. So the consumption, 254 watt hour per mile, and 158 watt hour per kilometer. So the miles per kilowatt was 3.9 or 6.32 kilometer per kilowatt. So just again, the most important number is the percentage. So 79%, 79 miles for every 100 miles charged. So we had just review 79. We got 68, 70, I'm looking at my notes, 76, 77, 64, and so on and so forth and so on. Okay, I think we're gonna have I'm gonna charge the car again to 300 miles. We're gonna have one more leg to somewhere in southern Florida, not south, and then from there we go all the way to our destination in Lauderdale by the Sea, as my wife is arriving. Okay, all right. Hey guys, I'm back. We are here in Sebastian, Florida. I've never been here before. There's a Dairy Queen and a gas station. It's a nice 250 kilowatt charger. There are 3 Teslas, me and 2 more, and here's a Cybertruck coming. There she is. Here's a Cybertruck coming. I saw so many Cybertrucks coming to charge. Anyway, so this is the last stop. I have 128 miles left to get to the final destination, and I highly suggest you stay for the last part. And I'm going to give you all the advice, everything you need to know about long trips with the electric car, especially Tesla. So this one, I don't know what this Cybertruck is doing. It's probably filling up gas. Look at this. It looks like he's going to fill up some gas. It's so funny. Anyway, I don't know. He knows what he's doing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a Florida car. I think he's backing up finally to the supercharger. Okay, so we left with 300 miles, which is about 498 kilometers. We drove 193 miles to 308 kilometers. We arrived with 71 miles, 113 kilometers. Our consumption, that's great, 242 watt hour per 242 watt hour per mile, and or 150 watt hour per kilometer. So the efficiency using our calculation was 83%. See? So we started with 64 in the Tundra, 83%, 67 degrees, nice. It's a little cool now, evening. So that's great. 4.1 miles per hour, miles per kilowatt hour. Okay, miles per kilowatt. Yes. So 4.1 miles for every kilowatt, or 6.6 kilometers for every kilowatt. So stay for the last part. It will be the most interesting part of this video. So as you can see, the last leg that we had, we drove 250 miles, okay? 250 miles from our last supercharging stop in Sebastian. And we, 400 kilometers, we consumed, so we drove 208 miles. We started with 250 miles, we drove 208 miles, 230 miles, 208 kilometers. Our consumption was 250 watt hour per mile, a little bit higher. And all in all, it was, we got back with around 150 kilometers, which is 94 miles. So about close, around 80% efficiency. So what did we learn about range and railroad range in this trip? If you got to this point, good for you. Is that weather is the most important factor on range. In the beginning, we had 64% efficiency. That was not good. Weight, absolutely effect. Speed, listen, as some of my drivers 70 to 80 miles per hour, you put this car on 65 miles per hour, your efficiency is going to is going to get to 90%. 90%, meaning 90 miles for every 100 miles of rated range. Okay? Occupancy, weight, like I said, weight. So what is their true range of this Tesla Model 3? First of all, if you're driving a gasoline car, you're not going to drive until your tank is empty. So you're always going to come up with 10, 15, maybe 20% into your next destination. You don't want to get it down. I mean, one time I got it down to 2%, but it was a huge mess and bad weather. It was a cyclone bomb, snow. That was last year, and it barely made it to the supercharger. So is this Tesla Model 3, which used to have a rated range of 352 miles, I believe. Now it's around 330. Can I go from 0 to 330? I can if I drive 60 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. So there's a lot of tests that people are doing. You can see many videos and articles. I'm going 70 miles an hour in a straight lane and this, that. It's not real. It is not real. Could I have squeezed out 300 miles on this in one of these legs? Absolutely, I could. I drive slowly in the slow lane, 60 miles an hour, and I will bring the car to almost 5% if I have to time it correctly to the supercharger or any charger, and I can do that. But that's not the point. My point is I'm going to drive between 2 to 3 hours. You saw one of the stops was 3 hours drive, between 2 to 3 hours, and I'm going to go 140 miles, 180 miles, 200 miles. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it is a comfortable ride. The point of this is that the range is irrelevant, because if you have a good charge and if you have a steady speed, you can tell how much time I'm willing to sit in this car. And I'm willing to sit in this car no more than 3 hours. Usually my sweet spot is 2.5 hours. Now, do you want to drive really, you want to charge to 100% and drive 300 miles? That could take you 4 hours. You can do it, but then your speed and the weather is going to have big effect, and you can manage that and actually do it. But to me, it's completely and totally unnecessary. Completely and totally unnecessary. Why would I do that? Okay, I don't want to sit in the car more than 2.5 hours. That one leg that had 3 hours was really stressful, because it just was traffic. That's all. DC area, traffic, Virginia, very a lot of traffic. So that's basically it. So to me, 200 miles for this battery, for this car, is so comfortable, because this way I drive 70, 80 miles an hour, no problem. I always going to come up with between 10 to 20% on the battery. I don't have to, there's no range anxiety. There are million superchargers along the way. Some of them are level 2, 150 kilowatt. Some of them are level 3, 250 kilowatt. And the one that we saw in Halifax with the 60 chargers, that was up to 500 kilowatts, but that's for the Cybertruck and hopefully for the future Model Y. I suggest, if you can, and there's so many of them, to pick the 250 kilowatt chargers. You're going to get started fast, and it doesn't matter how many people are charging. If you go to the 150 kilowatt, if you sharing with somebody, the charging speeds are very slow. So each stop was between, I would say, 20 to 45 minutes, because we chose to charge more. I didn't have to charge more than 80%, but I reduced these stops to 7 stops by doing that. Okay, by staying longer, get the car to 300 miles, and rip, no problem. Drive 80 miles an hour, doesn't matter what the weather is, you're gonna get to your destination, no problem. But as you can see, the efficiency has to do weather, speed, weight, and all those variables. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.